Hello, Samadan here. Now it's been a while since I've updated you on Operation Token. I thought I'd go through and just let you know what I've been up to and how I've gotten on so far with the gold making. So if we look at my graph that I had way back, I started in May and I went through to June, so 30 days, and charted what I did and when I did it, tracking both my retail gold, my classic gold, and the targets that I needed for each of those. I also noted down what my auction house value was as I was doing this. So I was flipping in classic and doing regular professions, just a few profession items and a few old world mounts and bits and pieces. Strictly on the auction house, really. This wasn't doing work orders or anything like that. And looking at my graphs, this is for all of June. So I've gone through all of here, just gained a little bit of gold, only from what's that, 600,000 to 400,000. So not enough for a token. It's got up to about 400,000 now anyway. So about halfway in terms of a token on that front. Very sporadic, not every day posting. And then on the classic front, again, we're not quite here yet. Other people have had huge successes with classic and flipping and things. I've kind of just done it a little bit casually here and there, listing a few commodities, putting them back on. And you can see my auction house value, this yellow line here, is showing that once I've got some gold to invest, I am being able to recoup that in and earn some gold. And then I usually put that back into earning things. A little bit sporadic here, some investments didn't pay off and what have you. So what I did then is I had enough gold because we've got 400,000 gold here. I went up to 600,000 gold. So at the end of the month, I had enough to buy a token. So that's what I did. And then we're moving into July. And so now I'm looking at what I've got with July. Again, very sporadic. It all depends on what my work schedule is and how much spare time I have of an evening. But looking down at my current graph, I've only got a few things here at 200,000 gold, nothing really to write home about. Classic has been doing quite well, up and down a little bit here. My auction house value is just here on this yellow dot. But I do actually have currently enough gold to remain on target for a token by the end of the month. So the way it's looking at the moment, I think with just very casual gold making on the auction house, I can probably make enough for a token every 2 months with either classic or retail, roughly looking at my targets at the moment. So that said, between the two of them, I should be able to pay for my game time. Well, fingers crossed anyway, with time will tell once the end of the month hits and I need to buy another token. So my current plan, I'll go through what I've been doing at the moment. So currently, I am here on Bridget, my dwarf hunter, who is currently level 73, I believe. Yep. So 73, haven't got round to getting up to 74. And I decided to level up my professions. So I've gone for jewel gathering. And it's kind of interesting with classic because you have to swap between herbalism and mining. I set up a little macro to do that. So currently I'm leveling it up at the moment. So we're currently at herbalism 203, mining 181. And then anything that I've been finding, I've been putting straight on the auction house. So that's pretty cool so far. That I'll level up to 300 and then go through Burning Crusade, and then going into Wrath of the Lich King, and then probably go back to leveling on this character. This is just really fun. It's really chill just to go around, level up some professions whilst I'm running around the vanilla worlds, and then it'll be nice to get back into the Wrath and do some actual leveling there. Really, really slow pace, casual, whenever I have time to pop on and pop off. It's like really nice to do. The macro I've got for my jewel gathering is this show tooltip, cast sequence, find herbs, find materials, and I've bound that to my Q key. So as I'm running along and doing my gathering and following my routes, you can see here on the tracking with currently tracking herbs, I tap Q and it changes to tracking ore, and then back to herbs, tap Q, back to ore, like that. So I just sporadically go through, tap that, and let that cycle through that way. I've also got GatherMate on, but it's only really showing me. I haven't put the data on either, so I'm just using Zygor as a guide to follow some routes there. My next route, I believe I've been suggested to go to, is this one up in, where is this? The Hinterlands, and do this route for my mining, which would be quite interesting. I'll go do that next. But that's only one half of my gold making in classic. The second half is my flipping character, and I'll go over to him now. Storage. Here we go. Here's storage, just tucked away in the bottom here. A level 10 warrior. The reason I parked myself exactly here is because the auctioneer is on the other side of this wall and the mailbox is here. And I've set up a little macro to target the auctioneer on the other side, and another macro, you can see I've targeted them there. Another macro, which is by the tilde key for me, is to interact with target, and that brings up the auction house interface without me having to move. And then I can just right click here and I can open up my mail. So it's really handy just to go through, pick up my items, list them back on, and without having to move. It's a bit like being in Booty Bay, but obviously Booty Bay is a neutral auction house at the moment, and I want to just stick with Alliance as we are at the moment. So my normal routine would be to just find things to flip. I've got a little TSM group which goes through all the basic commodities: cloth, enchanting mats, gems, herbs, leather, ore, rods, and a few other bits I've kind of like added in there. And I'll just end up doing like a large shopping scan, see if there's anything that comes in under my global average buy price or the region average price, and then anything that looks like a bargain, I'll go through and buy those there. Then what I've been doing is just making a note, once I've listed everything, is making a note of my total gold and what my total auction house value is at the moment. So that's what, 3,500, and it's pretty much the same as what I've got here, 3,452. So if I pop that in my spreadsheet for today, what day is it, the 15th, 3,452. I just relisted things, I didn't even bother flipping them at the moment, so just copy what I'm doing. I also made a note, getting jewel gathering to 225 nearly, just so I've got a note as to what I'm doing. And my auction house value, we knew we had about 3,500 here, and I know Bridget has listed some of her stuff on just a minute ago, which is about 400 gold. So we're probably talking about 3,900 gold in value. Looking down at my graph, that's a big jump up from what it was there. So things have obviously been flipped. I haven't bothered flipping anything myself yet, so not today anyway. Although being the weekend, it is kind of a good time to do that. So we're just slightly under target here, but aiming for this 7,500 for our classic token. There's a good chance with a bit of playtime I'll be able to get that quite easily with the jewel gathering thrown in there as well. As you can see here, there's a few things that I could potentially flip. I'd look at this and go, mage weave cloth. Okay, is that a bait item? Yes, it is. So I'll just simply just buy that out. And then greater astral essence, looking at that, this sort of thing I'd look at. Okay, what's the sale rate? 0.194. Looking at any jumps in prices, go 16 obviously to 20. The average prices are more like 67 silver, so we could, there's not a huge number of them, so my thinking here would be to go, you know what, I would probably buy all of those out and reset it. So simple scroll wheel, buy up all the items, including the ones at 40, 49. Be very careful not to buy this one at 4,700. Not that I've got the gold for that anyway. There we go, that's done. And then open up all of those. And then with my auctioning operation, just post those on and we're done there. Nice 1 gold 39. If I can sell it for that, that would be lovely. We're not likely to sell it for that, probably reset itself at a slightly lower price. But you can see that's the kind of thing I've been doing at the moment. Got a few different things on at the moment. I haven't gone through and reset these briar thorns or light leathers. I probably need to go and do that more aggressively. But for now, I'm just going to leave that as it is. So that's the process over on Classic. Let's pop on over to Retail and I'll show you what I've been doing there. Okay, so here we are in Retail. I have quite the range of characters. We've got Samadans at level 70, Samadan level 70, my rogue, just starting the Dracothist cooldowns. Then Awakening needs to level up to get to 70 to also do the Dracothist cooldowns. Samadan's doing the Azure Weave and potentially Chronocloth cooldowns, as well as a few more tailoring cooldowns there. Paladin has picked up Cloth, as has Dracodan, so they're both doing the tailoring cooldowns. Nothing huge there at this point. They still need to get more efficient at their Cloth cooldowns, but there's not huge margins in those anyway. Bridget's my jewel crafter engineer, not really doing a lot other than selling panthers. El Morte, my leather worker, not doing a great deal there, but just trying to tick through on the professions. Sorry, El Morte, my blacksmith, just ticking through a few profession items there. Same with Earth and my leather worker, and Hellfire's getting rid of all of my old stock. What I tend to do is go through them each in turn, just go through, do any cooldowns that they need to do. I'll go through and do any profession weekly quests. They're usually quite quick to do and get me a few more knowledge points, just so I'm really just ticking those through. Some are more important than others, and it all depends on how much time I've got. So obviously I've got a mental list of different things I want to do. I want to level up my characters to 70. Those that have a spare profession slot, I'll probably do the Drag of this cooldown, because that seems to be the best bang for your buck time-wise once you've got it set up. However, it does take a lot of time to set up, and I'm not that incentivized to do it at the moment. So to be fair, I'm not really spending as much time on retail as I am on classic. And if I do jump on retail, it will literally just be to quickly log on, list my auctions, and then log off again. So typically I'd look at Samadan here and say, okay, you haven't done your weekly profession quests. Those are usually quite easy. 2 surveyor's cloth robes. Usually I have enough materials to craft these straight off the bat. None of my professions are really maxed out yet. Hovering at 78 there with tailoring. Grab those, grab myself the extra knowledge points, a little bit of extra reputation as well. Same over for enchanting. Scepter of Spectacle. Which one was it? I can't remember which one it was. Was it Air? Frost? Let's have a look at the quest. It was 3 of fire and 3 of air. Okay. Problem with these is they do actually cost money to make. So a lot of my profit margins are caught out just by keeping things going. It's a certain maintenance fee, if you will. They're usually fairly cheap to make though, so it's not too bad. I include it as part of the auction house fees and things like that, really. Then with that done, it would be a case of jumping over, checking my mail, relisting any auctions. So we've got some spider silk slippers have sold, a few other bags have sold, not really huge prices. So that's a bit of 5,000 gold. I'll pick all that up and my other bits and pieces. If I've got the time, I'd restock on anything using my TSN groups. All depends really on how much time I think I have in any given day. As a bare minimum, I'd want to at least list these on with whatever I've got. So I just run a post scan of those. Nothing particularly amazing here. Sometimes the Tome of Illusions sell quite well. Occasionally a flying carpet and other bits and pieces. I've tried to keep the groups fairly small. I don't want to spend a lot of time crafting things. I still do the shirts though, because I like doing the shirts, even though there's not huge profit margins in all of them. Some of them do sell quite well. And sometimes the profession gear is below minimum price. I can always just swap over to regular and just see what kind of price they are. 90 gold, that's really not a lot. So it doesn't cost much to make. So I could post them up here just for a punt. But it's one of those things, I kind of, whether I can be bothered or not, it's not huge amounts of money. The other thing I would obviously look at is my cooldown. So as we've bolt, I've got my 30 ready. We're currently looking at what are my craft data. No, craft results. We reset that and say, okay, so the profit here is telling me 189. I should really get around to setting this up with Auctionator so I can get some better, more accurate prices. But TSM does a reasonable job of tracking the averages anyway. So in order to do this, so 30 of each of these, so it does take a fair investment of gold. So 30 Awakened Order, 30 Awakened Frost. So let's get these items and then pick them up. And then just double check we've got the right things. Yes, I can make 30 of them. And then we fly over to the Azure Loom. It doesn't take too long. Sometimes I'll look out for things along the way that might give me a little bit of an extra boost in gold. Maybe there's a dragon race or something nearby whilst I'm going, or even the assault can sometimes be quite good if I'm wanting to gear up. I'm not quite at that threshold I need to be to get gold for all my world quests. I'm currently at 385 item level. I need to be at 390 really, and then you can just check the map whilst I'm headed over See if there's anything going on in the Azure span. We do have a race there I could stop off and do. Can't see the assault going on here anywhere on my path. Just do a little detour down to that. The races are quite a bit of fun really. You just go through. I don't bother too much trying to get a decent time or anything like that. I literally just make sure I get the rings. Try not to crash if at all possible. And there we go. Managed to get that in a decent time. Okay, and then we'll continue on our course to the Azure Loom. So whilst I'm here, I've got this reset for my craft sim data. I'll craft all of these, see what kind of potential profit I get out of this. So it's not much per bolt, 23 gold. You're waiting for the inspiration and the multi-craft really to make any reasonable amounts of gold with this. I'll do the full 30 though. As you can see, I've pretty much got most things maxed out that is going to give me some kind of bonus to this. Draconic needlework needs a little bit more, and weaving a little bit more there. I've got profession gear. I've only got one that is blue, and that's this one with extra resourcefulness enchanted on it. These two, I need to probably go and invest in those. I'll wait until I've got some more artisan's metal and do that. But there we go, that's my cooldowns done. So not a huge amount of session profit there, 6,779, but still 6,000 gold. Do that on multiple characters and it will add up over the course of a week. You are obviously limited by your cooldowns on these. Let's just head on over here. Right, so I'll park Samadan here. Use the mailbox. And then I'll just post these on manually. So I did save myself some vibrant cloth. We've got 27 Azure bolts and 9 of the rank 3 ones. So current price is 547 and this one is 599. So really margins are slim on these, but that is basically my process. Obviously I need to go through and do my profession knowledge. Should have done this first really. And then Draconic needlework was the one that I was just boosting up here. So let's apply the 6 there. That gets me a little bit better. Our next one here is they've got all the different specializations, and then we can go into chronocloth after this as well. So I'm just going to move inside here so I can be rested and then log out nice and quickly. So that's the basic gold making process. Samadan, slightly similar, but doing the Draco Fist. Again, it requires a fair investment in time. You need to be level 70. You need to go and do the Lone Niffin, get up to Renown 3 and get the barter bricks going, the 25 of those. But I think the Draco Fist, especially if you get a multi-craft proc on those, then you can see some really good gold coming through on those. You do need, again, a good pool of money just to buy the reagents you need for it. See here, I haven't done things. So other things I need to make sure I do, let's just pick up this quest so it doesn't annoy me. Also pick up things like Artisan's Metal if I haven't done it for that character. We double check if there was any weekly that I haven't signed up for yet. Give me some extra treasures and things. Give me Valdraken treasures. Got a nice knife, which is 376. Doesn't improve on what I've had, but we do have some extra flight stones which we have to trade in for some gear into that. So I'll collect all the Shadow Flame Crest bits and pieces, and I should be able to get myself some decent gear and get up to, where are we at the moment? 369, so catching up Samadan very quickly. Didn't take long at all. So let's go over to, we'll probably need to buy some things here. So let's check our mail first. So we did sell the Draco Fist that we had, 5 of those, 22,000 gold. We've only got 2,000 gold, so I'm trying to keep each character self-sufficient, even though I could move gold around per character, just so I know whether that profession is actually making me any gold or not. So I'll take that gold, 24,500. I've probably got my full cooldowns ready for Draco Fist, the 10 of them. So what I would need here is, well, 3,000 glow spores. I probably can't afford those at this point. Let's have a look. They're quite cheap at the moment. So 3 1,000 is 57,000 gold. So we don't have enough of that. I've got enough for about half of that. So we'll go 1,500. No, not quite enough. So let's do them batches of 300. So let's do 1,200. That gives me 23,000. That's cutting it a bit fine. So let's go 900. So that means 3 Dracothist transmutes. It's not a lot really. I want to be able to do the full 10 ideally. So I would consider maybe transferring some gold over, but let's see let's keep it as self-sufficient, because that will then give me a true representation of whether this is working or not. So I'll buy the 900. Also needed, let me just check. I've got it tracked here. So we already have 169 left over anyway, actually. So if we got another, what's that, 150, we can do the next one up as well. And then we need the silken gem dust. So we've got enough for 1. So to do another, how many do we do? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need another 3. So that's 150. Gem dust. 2 is what I'd go for normally. So we need 150, 622 gold for those. Takes us down to 4,000 gold. So let's grab all of those. And then just head on over. We don't really need to fly, but there we go. Our workbench, obviously we've got our quests to do as well. Keep a mental note of those. If I don't get time to do those, that's fine. So I've got 4 transmutes available to me. This is all clear again, our session profit. Craft Sim is telling me 353 profit per item. Now it all depends on whether I get any multi-craft procs, currently at 13% on that. Now ideally, really, I should probably do the quest first and use my knowledge. So alchemy notes, what did we need? I didn't actually read that. Always read your quests. Know what they need. Mana markets, aerated mana potion, 10 of them. Aerated mana potion, do that twice. There we go, hand that in. Then if we look at our alchemy and doing the transmutes, Dracothist, we need resourceful routines. It is probably going to help us there. So let's have a look at that. Resourceful routines. Use ingredients more economically, gaining resourcefulness. We need to just learn that first. Obviously, if you've got things like the Darkmoon Fair active as well, we can make use of that. I'm actually quite high on alchemy skill level because it's one of the few professions that you can get quite high. I'm at 97 for that. A few more file experimentations and I should get the full way there. So let's just apply our 3 knowledge there. Give us a little bit of a boost. It's all about efficiency with these cooldowns. The more efficient you can get, the better. So that's all done. And recipes, that'll do the 3 that we can, or the 4 that we can. Really hoping for a multi-craft proc. That's what's going to give me the extra. It's got some reagents saved, that's good. Okay, so session profit 3,600. Obviously, if we could sell the Dracothist and we had an extra proc, that'd be an extra 6,600 gold on top of us. So it's all a law of averages. Obviously, I'm only doing 4 of them here. I could really do with doing 10 of them. And then I could also do with having this on multiple characters. If I've got, say, 3 or 4 characters at level 70 that can do this, I think I'd be in a reasonable position to make easily enough for a token on just those cooldowns and the tailoring cooldowns each week on those characters. It's kind of guesswork at this point. I'd have to actually try that out to see whether that actually is true or not. But my gut is telling me that it's one of those things a bit like the mission tables. The more you get yourself set up and the more efficient you get and the more characters you have doing that, then you start to reap the rewards later on as you build up momentum. But with 1 or 2 characters, it's at least a start, isn't it? So where's my Dracothist? There it is. Let's make sure we post those on. 6,657. These sell near instantly, I find. There we go. They've gone already. So I could wait an hour, wait for those to come through, and then use that money to do my cooldowns and then carry on. It all depends on how much time you've got, but I can easily come back to that and have a look. So what have we got? 13,000 on that. We did have 22,000. So we are gaining gold by doing this. Slowly but surely. Looking at my TSM graphs, obviously it's been going down this past month. Where was my, that's with all players, isn't it? this is all overall time. So basically, yeah, I've just been steadily losing gold because I haven't bothered with work orders. I really struggled to get into Dragonflight as a whole. The professions are really, really nice, but they're also really real pain in the ass to make some gold. So the thing with me is the work orders just isn't my style of play, and just really didn't enjoy sitting around waiting for work orders and things like that. So for me, it's been quite the sort of disheartening journey just watching my gold steadily decline. But I'm still determined to make enough gold for the tokens. I've got a mix of what we have here on Classic and what we have in retail, I think will be enough. So as a final thing, that's probably about all I've got time for today. So what I do is just update my graphs for today. So we are sitting at 203,000 gold, less than what we had over here in a long while actually, but we haven't collected up the gold on any of my other characters, so they've probably got some stuff that they've invested in that's still to come back up. So we'll do 203.26. Half relist, barely did anything really. So definitely the more time I spend playing WoW and doing these routines and making sure that these systems are going through, and I spend time leveling these characters up to 70, getting their knowledge points all saved up and everything, you can see how the time will translate into money. But I don't ever want it to be a slog. I don't want to think, oh God, I've got to log into WoW or anything like that. I'm only doing it whilst I find it fun. So if it comes out at the end of the day and I don't have enough gold and I end up buying game time and paying for a 6-month subscription, to me, that's fine. The main thing, this is supposed to be enjoyable. Right now, I'm having most fun playing Classic. I'm really looking forward to Hardcore when it comes out. Obviously, there's not really a lot gold making wise to do there. It's just going to be a very interesting economy, but there's no tokens involved there, so it's going to be slightly different. But for me, it's about the fun. So that's my routine. That's where I'm at to at the moment. I hope that's given either some insight into some sort of low-level gold making, or giving you inspiration as to things you could do to make some gold, enough for a token anyway, or just to make sure you're having fun. So until next time, happy gold making, and I'll see you very soon.